Do you enjoy dinner parties? I do. But what's the etiquette around dinner parties? When you're hosting a dinner party, I recommend doing as much as you can beforehand to prepare, especially to prepare before the guests arrive. For example, lay the table, prepare all the crockery, and sort out as much food as you can beforehand. That way you'll be able to spend more time with your guests rather than in the kitchen. When your guests arrive, you should offer them a drink. This is typical etiquette to offer a drink on arrival. Ideally, you should offer spirits, wine, beer, and of course, soft drinks. A glass of champagne or Prosecco is also a lovely option. Quite often, guests will arrive with a bottle and you may wish to open it at some point in the evening. But make sure you have a good supply just in case your guests don't bring wine. If you choose not to open the wine that's been brought for you, you should respectfully let your guests know that you've decided to keep the bottle for a special occasion. When you have lots of guests, a table plan is a good way to organise them. You can also use place cards so that guests know where to sit, and you can mix and match people that may have similar interests and backgrounds to sit next to each other. This would be typically found at a more formal dinner party. If it's a more laid-back event, then people can sit where they choose. But my recommendation is that couples typically wouldn't sit next to each other and would mix around the table. You can keep an eye on the conversation during the first 2 courses, and if you feel that there's any clashes or perhaps guests aren't, enjoying the conversation, you can suggest switching around for dessert. If you're invited to a dinner party, make sure you RSVP promptly and make sure to tell your host any dietary requirements you have. If you do unfortunately need to cancel, please try to give as much notice to your host as you can. Never ever arrive early to a dinner party. And ideally, British etiquette would be not to arrive late. Arrive on time. If you're going to be late, more than 15 minutes late, you should call your host to let them know. As a guest, as I've mentioned earlier, it is polite etiquette to take a gift. Flowers, chocolate, or a bottle of wine are all perfectly acceptable. You can also take 2 bottles if you're going as a couple. And after your dinner party, you should always thank the host. Writing, text message, voice note, or call. I love dinner parties. They're such a lovely way to entertain both formally and informally. Food, good conversation, good friends. I hope these tips help for your next dinner party. And remember to invite me.